First at 4, TikTok. Detroit automakers are running out of time to make a deal with the UAW. Where things stand now and what's coming next. Also, a former Macomb County prosecutor was sentenced just a short time ago for misspending hundreds of thousands of dollars in public forfeiture funds. Did he avoid jail? And here's Kim Adams.
Well, we've got a few clouds out there right now, but it is dry, cooler than normal with temperatures only in the 60s. And we're setting ourselves up for the coolest night we've seen all week long. I'll tell you how low those temps go tonight in a few minutes.
43-year anniversary, but that's not a reason to celebrate. So says members of Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
You've got distracted, you've got drugs, you've got drinking.
They are now fighting a whole lot of other D's.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, we are about 32 hours away from the UAW strike deadline, and we have seen a shift in negotiations. So here's the latest. At this hour, there is no deal with any of the automakers, Ford, General Motors, or Stellantis. Negotiators for all three have now moved to the UAW's Solidarity House, so Union President Shawn Fain can more easily monitor the bargaining with all three companies. Ford is the latest to boost its offer. CEO Jim Farley says it's been significantly enhanced, but there are limits. Right now, the UAW is getting ready to kick off another practice picket, this one in front of the Dearborn truck plant. Union has had a few of these events to rally the faithful and show it's ready to strike any or all of the automakers if new deals are not in place by 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. Meantime, UAW President Shawn Fain will offer his next Facebook Live update in 1 hour. That's when he'll share his latest reaction to the negotiations. Also give us a sense of where things stand. We'll have highlights from that message at 5 and 6. Right now, business editor Rod Maloney joins us from the UAW Solidarity House. So, Rod, what are your sources telling you about the next update? And are any of the automakers close to a deal?
You know, it's hard to tell that anybody's close to a deal. But what we do know is that they are talking here. They started here today in earnest because it's a hive of activity in here. Shawn Fain getting ready for that update. And also they've decided, because for efficiency's sake, to have Shawn Fain going around to all three of the main tables. And so they're in here doing that talking now. Stellantis just dropped a third counteroffer this afternoon. We don't have details on that, but certainly Shawn Fain is going to be looking at that. Pretty good chance that he'll be talking about the Ford counteroffer and the Stellantis counteroffer when he does his update at 5 o'clock.
So what are the biggest sticking points right now? I know UAW obviously lowered that wage increase that they were asking, but then last night CEO Farley came out and said, you know, that 4-day work week, that's not going to be doable. So where do things stand?
Right. Well, I think that there are just some things the car companies will not talk about or will not acquiesce to. The 32-hour work week, pensions, retiree health care. Those are the back ends of the rather audacious demands, as Shawn Fain calls them, that the companies are just not going to get involved with. A lot of that stuff. Jobs Bank was another one. Those are things that were given up as part of the bankruptcy, and the car companies look at that and say, there isn't even a chance we're going to go with that. So it's the question of becoming what they can do with the wages and the COLA protections and the inflation protection and the job security issues. Those are always the big things that they have to deal with. And so as it stands right now, I'm certain that that's some of the stuff that they're working on, trying to figure out how to parcel out the money.
All right. Well, we will check back with you at 5. Obviously, we'll be hearing a lot more updates in the next few hours. We appreciate it. Thanks, Rod. Well, with the threat of a strike looming, the Detroit Auto Show is still trying to shine a light on what is next and also what's new. We've seen a series of reveals today, including this one from Jeep. Take a look. 2024 Jeep Gladiator. It is described as a 100% truck and 100% Jeep. Comes with 7,700 pounds of towing capability and more than 1,700 pounds of payload. We will have highlights from more reveals on Local 4 News at 5. By the way, the charity preview just a few days away. We sure hope you'll join us for special coverage Friday night. Jason Colthorpe, Rhonda Walker, and our morning team will be joined by special guests to show some of the latest auto innovations. That's Friday night, 7 o'clock on Local 4. We're also streaming on Local 4 Plus. Meantime, More than 1,000 Blue Cross Blue Shield Michigan workers have walked off the job. They are also represented by the UAW. Talks on a new contract for customer service reps have really broken down, and employees hit the picket line in downtown Detroit. The insurance company says it has contingency plans in place, but warns services provided over the phone might take longer during the strike. We'll keep you posted on this dispute as well. New at 4, he was once a powerful prosecutor in Macomb County. Today, Eric Smith just avoided further time behind bars. Today's sentencing focused on state charges for misspending hundreds of thousands of dollars in public forfeiture funds. Smith apologized to the court before sentencing. In the end, the judge stuck to terms of a plea deal. Smith got 4 years probation, $25,000 in restitution, plus court costs and an $8,000 fine. Smith previously served nearly 7 months in federal prison in an unrelated case. Victor Williams spoke with Smith after the hearing. You're going to hear his reaction tonight at 5. Closing arguments got underway today in the trial of 3 men accused of taking part in that 2020 plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Defendants Eric Molitor and brothers William and Michael Knoll face over 20 years in prison. So if convicted, prosecutors argued the men hated government and were ready to kill anyone who got in their way. Defense attorneys say the prosecution did not show that the men intended to support a terrorist act.
They didn't make it hard to understand what they were about. I mean, they wore the boogaloo patch. They wanted to overthrow our government. As crazy as that sounds, that's what they wanted.
There's no direct evidence that Mr. Molitor had intent. The intent that's going to be required. Intent wasn't brought up, specific intent to do certain things, to intimidate, coerce, affect, influence. Those are the magic words.
After closing arguments, the judge will give instructions to the jury. We'll keep you posted when deliberations start. In your first forecast, we're going to take a look ahead to the evening weather. It looks calm, a little cool, but let's get the latest from forward meteorologist Kim Adams. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Karen. Well, it is cool. In fact, quite cool in some spots. It's only 60 in Howell, Pontiac, and Mount Clemens. There's definitely more cloud coverage in parts of the Thumb and down into Oakland and Macomb counties. That's why temperatures are a bit lower. And then in the city, it's 69 degrees, and at Metro, 67. Quite a bit colder than it was yesterday. In fact, right now it is 12 degrees cooler in Mount Clemens than it was yesterday, 11 degrees cooler in Howell, and 7 degrees cooler today than it was yesterday in Pontiac. So a little chilly, and we'll be dropping down into the low to mid 50s by midnight tonight. And tonight will be the coolest night of the week. 49 degrees, that's at the airport. Some of the suburbs could be dropping down into the 40s, but sunshine gets us up to a high of 69 tomorrow. There's a frost advisory in effect. It's not for southeast lower Michigan, but it's getting really close, so we'll talk about that coming up.
All right, thanks, Kim. A terrifying 2 weeks is finally over as this escaped murderer is taken into custody. This is the scene in Pennsylvania. Daniello Cavalcante was arrested in some woods just west of Philadelphia, bringing relief to nearby residents. He was considered armed and dangerous after stealing a rifle and ammunition while on the run. Thermal imaging spotted him. It was about 1 in the morning, but storms prevented teams from tracking him until this morning. The escapee tried to crawl through some thick bushes and was bitten on the head by a search dog as he was taken into custody. No shots were fired. For many of us, it seems like Mothers Against Drunk Driving has been around forever. Well, how about 43 years? The organization just marked that anniversary, but many members say there isn't much to celebrate. Paula Tutman joins us in downtown Rochester with why, after so many years of service, there is still a sense of grief and gravity. Paula?
Yeah, hi, Karen. There's certainly some to celebrate, or I shouldn't say celebrate. I should say definitely commemorate. I want you to consider a vehicle careening 108 miles per hour. It goes into another car, and the only thing that stops it are the bodies in that other vehicle. It is from that vantage some members of Michigan MAD are commemorating the 43rd anniversary. Commemorate, don't celebrate, because there's still so much work to do. That's what Sue Strong and Jason Waldron of Mothers Against Drunk Driving Michigan chapter say about the 43rd anniversary of the organization. The year MAD was formed, Jason's entire family was wiped out by a drunk driver. On the way home, at the same time, Peter Zuter decided to cross the center line and get in his car with a 3.28 alcohol limit and killed my father, my stepmother, and both my brothers. Killed himself as well.
and I survived it.
Local 4 safety expert Darnell Blackburn says that in his experience as a police officer, he believes but for MAD, society would have an entirely different view of drunk driving, one that predates the founding of MAD in 1980.
Mothers have put faces with their sons and daughters who've lost their lives at the hands of someone else who is excessively drinking, who is doing something that can easily be prevented.
MAD's influence can be felt in attitudes and laws.
Police officers they patrol areas where there are more bars, and they're trying to curb the idea of people driving drunk in general.
Since we were conceived, drunk driving crashes have considerably went down 50%.
But MAD continues to have a growing D problem. Let's talk about that other D. Well, there are a couple of Ds.
There's a couple of Ds. I think, I think that MAD, M-A-D-D, those Ds can stand for multiple things. So you've got distracted, you've got drugs, you've got drinking. So MAD stands for pay attention to what you're doing behind that wheel. I've currently become the MAD Michigan Advisory Board Chair because I do have a loud mouth. And I will not stop talking. I will not stop, screaming the message.
When they talk about more work to do right now, also they are micro-focused on boating and boating under the influence. But Karen, I also want you to put something else in perspective. I want you to think about this. By the time you say your goodbyes on this newscast, statistically, nationally, 37 more people will have died at the hands of drunk or impaired or distracted drivers. That's about 37 people every 39 seconds.
Wow.
Karen?
Horrific stat. All right. Thank you, Paula. We do appreciate it.